Hello, everyone. That was my dog also saying hello. Welcome to the 2nd April energy update. I just wanted to kind of reflect for a minute and just kind of share some things that have been going on before I dive into the update itself. So I took a moment this week to, I don't just happened to be in a place where I was in a reflection of just, it didn't last more than a minute or two, but I was just kind of reflecting on the year so far in this first quarter, and wow, which is January, February, March, and not in an egotistical way, but I was like, wow, you got a lot done. And that wasn't the intention. I just was flowing, but I had the energy to support it. And I stayed, predominantly in a relaxed state of mind. I mean, there were some days obviously where I was tired, but things that maybe would have, taken me 6 to 8 months, just in terms of managing time and staying motivated, just kind of click, click, click kept happening. So I just want to point that out, like the energy is definitely moving faster this year. So also the last energy update I wanted to share that I was very much in the fog of the retrograde, and I was moving through some physical pain in my lower back, and which was interfering with my ability to do some larger forecasting. And now that the shadow period is over, I'm seeing things very clearly, and I'm really excited to dive into this energy update. So there's about 4 kind of like mini points. The first 3 should go by pretty quickly, and then I have like a little mini earth lesson for today with a tiny little homework assignment if you wish to do that. So the first thing that I want to share in this update is anchoring in the light. And this was a theme that came through in my original January update when I was looking ahead at the year. And I am seeing like these threads of light all over the globe with little pinpoints everywhere. And I have a picture I'm going to share in greater detail, which I'll share more about that in a minute. But I want to highlight how important it is to anchor in your light to the light. So your light is generated from within, and it's part of your soul essence and your soul purpose here to recognize it. There's also the light that comes from the divine, from God, from source, whatever you choose to identify, higher power. So I'm seeing an image of like a larger heart in the cosmos representing that God, creator, that source of light. And then I was also seeing like energetically connected a smaller heart beneath it representing your individual light, and then underneath that the globe and all of the light workers all around the globe. And the threads of light on the globe were anchoring in the light. So those little dots of light on the globe are representing the light workers, which includes you, because I tend to attract a lot of people who work with energy and who are light workers. And in this web that I was seeing, it was feeding into an energetic system of light across the globe. So as we take care of our light and connect with the light, this all channels down into the global circuitry of the planet and helps us to anchor in the light. So important for you to do the work and for you to anchor in your light is making such a difference in our planet. I actually saw a picture of what I just shared with you in meditation last Saturday, and I had AI create a graphic for me. So if I can drop it in the comments here, I will. Otherwise, it will be in my newsletter. So if you happen to just run into this energy forecast and you don't get my newsletter, you're welcome to go to my website and sign up for it. Otherwise, it'll be in my newsletter, and I will find a way to share it on here. Okay, number 2, building trust and seeing the truth. So, and I was told to share this like this way. So to kind of put the truth out there. I want to be very clear that when I am receiving like these downloads and these channeled messages, this type of information is coming like straight through me. So I have, for the most part, stopped watching like energy updates and these big forecasts from other thought leaders. So I'm not being influenced even in the slightest way by what they're saying. Of course, I have practitioners that I work with, and they influence me and help me understand what's going on in my body, in my individual light body. And so that affects my ability to see things clearly, to channel, to work with others. Once I have like worked with myself and I receive that intelligence, but I don't like ping pong off of like other people's forecasts. So the reason I'm sharing this is because if you can see any congruencies in like what I'm saying and what I'm sharing with what you may be seeing and what other people are sharing that you follow, then you can start to see the truth of what is happening, and you can start to have that validation. So we might not all have the same specific message, but I feel like overall you're gonna find some things that are connecting in on a very continuous momentum and level. Also in the vein of building trust and seeing the truth, my body, my vessel, my space in my home, my treatment space, my office where I see clients, all of these places I feel safe, and I'm constantly clearing energy. So I feel like very confident that when I'm sharing information with you, it's coming from a very pure place, and I'm very honored that there's a trust built with those listening to what I'm sharing. So there is an activation around integrity embedded in this. When we have integrity within ourselves and when other people prove their integrity, we feel trust. And when we have trust, we feel safe. And we're currently working on building safety from the ground up. So we're embodying safety and everything that we have been doing. So if you've been following these energy forecasts as of now, or a few months ago, or even with me for longer, wherever you're at in your journey is where you need to be. But everything that we have been working on up to this point with our energy and releasing trauma has happened to get us to this point in our evolution. Okay, so number 3 is just a little bit of a, there was just something tiny that came in about energy surges. May have been in February, and sometimes I do get mixed up because I do a lot of individual channeled messages in my private sessions with people that are also collective messages, and then I sometimes don't remember like if I shared that in an energy update here or was that in a session. But I know I have been talking about like the internal electrical grid system in the body for a while now, and there is a lot of energy surging right now. I just want to be really clear that this is not an energy surge that's going to drop. So it's not like surge and drop, like surge and drop. That was an old pattern, like an old way of doing things. The energy is going to continue to surge. Like that vocabulary word is like a surge. It's like kind of like surging, like a real nice increase. And then it's going to, after it surges, it's going to have like a flow to it, but it's going to continue to heighten at peak points, and meaning what was previously constituted as a surge may then become our still point. I want to kind of explain. So when our energy, I kind of feel like we've just been doing this, you know, like up, down, sideways, down, down, up. And now our grid system is becoming more aligned with working with the energy that is coming in, like coming into our planet and coming into our bodies. So as we continue to work with these surges, we may go up and then ebb and flow, like a wave up and down, but we're like going up, okay? So we're constantly moving up. We're making progress. So what previously constituted as a surge, so maybe at one point you went like up and then you went ebb and flow. So maybe you were here and now you ebbed and flowed and you were here. And this was a surge point at one point. So before you surge again, you're at like a still point, and then you'll go up and you'll continue to surge again. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole on this, but the point is that the peak points in a surge will then, you'll reflect, it will be a still point. And a still point has been coming through a lot for me over, I don't know, for months now. The still point, again, I don't want to go too much down the rabbit hole on this. It's like the source of our beingness. It's like the ultimate state of like being present in the awareness and not needing anything to provoke anything outside ourselves to evoke action or for something to happen. Like we are just in the state of beingness and full surrender, full awareness. We often get there in deep states of meditation and altered states of mind, maybe in dreamlike states where you're just very, very relaxed. So energy surges are going to be more in alignment and calibration, and we will be also encountering more. You'll start to understand what that means more about a still point as we cycle through this. And I'm sure as the year goes, as we go through the year, I'm going to be talking about this some more, but just try to like, don't try to understand any of that, but just try to like let your system absorb it, because once your body can just like absorb the language, the transmissions, the information, you don't have to understand it in your mind. And this is a very new concept of how we absorb and digest information. So I'm going to go on to number 4. So number 4 is a little mini earth lesson. So where does all this bring us today? So the guides were really strongly urging me to share that integration is key. Integration, they just kept saying integration is key. Integration is key. So I want to ask, like, what is integration? Like, how do you define integration? What does integration mean in your life? And what would be a time when it would come up? I think this theme needs to be talked about at its core, because when we learn something or we experience something, meaning maybe you learn by taking a class or going to a workshop, or perhaps you learn something just by having experience of going on a trip or having something, suddenly change in your life, in your day-to-day life, and you have to adjust. We're all having different types of experiences right now. And integration is important because as the energy, as I just mentioned, continues to surge, and then we hit like a still point where you just have some time to kind of like sit in your awareness of things and not feel like you have to be anywhere, doing anything at any place at any time, and you can just be in a moment. And I don't want to expand on that just yet today, but I want to stick to integration. So you're only going to be able to acclimate to this. Let me just start from the beginning. Integration is important because as the energy continues to surge and then hit a still point, you're only going to be able to acclimate to this as much as you are integrating. So think about how still point and integration are connected. You can only surrender as much as you have integrated the lessons that have come in. So let me give you an example. This is a negative example. So obviously, like, you can integrate positive experiences. I think right now we can all relate. There's a lot of negative things happening. So I'm just going to be practical. And this may have happened in our house this week, by the way. Let's say that you break something, and the thing that you break is something. Now, I'm referring to something breaking. It could be anything. It could be something like that suddenly shifts with your health or someone else's health or your safety. Could be related to your car or something that happens while you're driving. I'm going to keep it really simple with the example though that I brought in, but I just want to bring up some things because I know Mars is in Aries right now, and it's a very volatile time, and so there might be things happening as I speak that you can use for integration. This is a really good time for the enrichment of integration. So let's say that you break something, and the thing that you break is something that you rely on, and it's going to cost you something to fix it. And it's also going to cost you some time to figure out how to get it repaired. Is your immediate reaction coming from a place of fear and scarcity of time and money? Or time and money and how you're going to replace it? Or do you go into like problem solving immediately? Or do you go into gratitude because it's something that can be fixed and will be fixed, and it's simply showing you that you're receiving an upgrade? So all of these responses are valid, and there's like many more responses that could happen in between. Like those are probably like 3 standard ones that come to mind. I'm just giving you an example of a few. So there's that scarcity mindset, like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? Like, and then there's the, okay, like, let's fix this, we can figure it out. And then there's obviously like that level of awareness, like where you've reached really like a level of enlightenment where you're like, oh, how is this coming into my life, like to show me an upgrade? I'm so grateful for that. So in the hours and days following the experience of something breaking, in that example I just gave of something breaking, your energy circulates and adapts according to how you handle the situation. And as you begin to integrate the information on how you handled that situation, you will become conscious of whether you are operating from an old or new, and by new I mean upgraded, old or new operating system. So if you did go into a mindset of scarcity and fear around time and money, that in the days following that experience, you are now aware that you have a trigger point around scarcity, and you need to continue to integrate new experiences to create a new operating system. So you may be faced with more experiences that bring up that fear and scarcity until you integrate that through your system. You will continually be met with themes of scarcity in the energy field as the energy surges until you choose to deal with it. So I'm really hoping that makes sense to you. It's a lot of information I'm just throwing at you. So maybe just kind of like listen to this a couple times, and I think it's going to start to create create a pattern that makes sense to you. So just to kind of round this out as we finish up here. Integration is going to be a way that we handle situations that we either call in for change or that are called in spontaneously because a lesson is needing to be learned. If you could start to see things happening in your life as mechanisms for your evolution, so we're kind of moving into more of like the enlightenment mindset. If you could start to see things happen in your life as mechanisms for your evolution, then you will start to be able to integrate a lot faster. The point is not to go fast, and I'm going to go back to the very beginning of this energy update when I was talking about the surges. The point is not to go fast, but the point is to see that there's an evolution happening and there is an energy access. We have like an energy access point right now that allows us to evolve in the flow of the emerging wave. So just think of this as wave, and here's our evolution. And if we can sort of like tap into that wave, right, we can get carried by it, and things move a lot more efficiently without having to put in as much effort. So you might say that the wave is moving faster, but if you tap into the wave, you will naturally move at the rate that things are evolving. And we call this flow. All right, if you've made it to this point, you get a gold star, because now I'm going to give you a little something to reflect on. By the way, if you choose to numb out and avoid, which, you know, I've done it many, many times, then the wave could come crashing down. And it might occur to you that your circumstances are compounding. This is not like punishment, and the intention, this is not the intention for you or for any of us for this to happen. We're all in this together. So just by listening to this video, you are receiving the transmissions and you're receiving some activations on how to begin to understand integration. So, little homework assignment for those that might want to practice working with this. What are some things that you can practice currently to integrate and anchor the light? Create sustainability in your integration process by anchoring in each and every day throughout your day, doing grounding movements. So could simply be just like 5 to 10 minutes of walking outside, preferably without a phone. Or it could be 5 to 10 minutes of meditation. Just start with 5 to 10 and just see how that feels in your body, or gaze at the sun in the morning, or gaze at the sunset at night for a few minutes. This does not, these movements don't have to be complex or grand movements or time consuming. Just keep it simple and keep it regular. And then you'll start to, your body will naturally integrate whatever it is that's causing you like fear or anger or impulsivity. You'll work it through by looking at the sun. You'll work it through by walking, breathing, meditating. Just give it a try. Okay. I'm running out of time here. I'm already over. I was going to mention something about broken systems. I don't want to just, I'm just going to skip over that. All I'm going to let you know is that all of this that I have just talked about, it's going to feed into a theme of broken systems, and I'm going to talk more about that on the next update. Lastly, if you want to connect with me, I do offer massage and energy work. Energy work can also be done remotely. So if you're watching this and you're not local, we can set up a time. You can just go on my website, book an appointment. I'll have your information. And then if you are not local, we will use your appointment time to do a virtual appointment, and you will still receive all of the benefits. Also, sound bath is April 26th. That sign up is also on my website under my offerings. It is women only. It is, and it's at my studio, my workspace, and that is done once a month. So if you're interested in that, would love to have you for that, and really do appreciate your support. If you, even just watching this, you have a question, just feel free to reach out to me or put a comment, and I will see you next month for the next energy update.